Sharp Game here, coming at you from chooseyourrelationships.com. And today I'm going to be talking about how women isolate guys. Women in isolation. Now, you probably have a friend that you used to hang with, as I did. One of my best friends. We had a lot in common. We met like 15 years ago. And we hit it off. We both was in the Navy. We worked on the last job together, and we hit it off. We traveled together. We met women together. We partied together. So we made money together. So we had a lot of things in common. But all of a sudden, when he got married, it was downhill from there. Now, I'm a pretty optimistic guy, and I thought once he got married that it would be like the next chapter, sort of like a new beginning, right? And I met his wife a couple times. At the time it was his girlfriend. I seen her a couple times, and she seemed to be a little. I thought she was okay, but when they got married, the time all that time we spent together, that came to an end. All of a sudden, I started seeing him and hearing from him probably once every 2 months, which at the time was okay because I was working and I was in and out of town. But all of a sudden, that once every 2 months went to once every 6 months or once every 8 months. And, he couldn't answer the phone. And when he did call me back, it was like 3 or 4 days later. And then when I started to stop by his house whenever I was in the area. And I always felt like there was some type of tension between him and his wife. It seemed like I don't think I was one of her biggest fans, so I felt like she didn't really want me around him. I eventually moved out. I moved to another town. I moved to Atlanta, and shortly after that, I seen him one time. This was like 3 years ago, and I haven't seen him since. So 3 years passed. I haven't seen him since. I contacted him twice through text, and that was it. But I haven't talked to him. And I know that it has a lot to do with her because I've seen this a lot over the past 15, 20 years. Because what happens is a lot of women want to, they'll, before you get married to a lot of these women, they'll do damn near anything. They'll go above and beyond the call of duty. They'll do anything to suck you in. But when you get married, all of a sudden, there's new rules. You can't spend time with your friends. You can't spend time with your family like you used to. You can't watch football on Sundays. You can't watch basketball. You can't go anywhere after work. You can't do this. You can't do that. So there's all these new rules that comes into play because she wants to control him and mold him, and she wants him to become what she wants him to become. So basically, she wants to take a grown ass man and treat him like a little kid. So, because the idea is to take away his freedom so she can have more freedom. And this happens a lot. Now the only way this could happen is if the guy loves the woman. This is the only logical way this could ever happen. Logical and practical way this could ever happen. Because if the guy doesn't love the woman, it's not going to work. You're not going to do anything to manipulate him. So keep in mind, if you're a woman, the only way you can manipulate a guy, he has to be into you, very much into you, or he has to love you. If none of those ideas and emotions come into play, your manipulation is not going to work. And what has happened, a lot of women have caught on to this because they watched their mothers over the years, or their grandmothers, and so they and then women talk in circles with their friends, and one woman might tell the other what worked for them or what didn't work. And this type of stuff is really running rapid in society. And in order for it to work as well, the guy has to be kind of semi-dumb. He has to be like kind of in the cloud, really don't know what's going on. Because the only way you can manipulate is the easiest way to manipulate a person or a group of people or a nation of people is to have lack of information. That's the only way. This is nothing really new, really. It's just that people don't really talk about it. And to be perfectly honest, most of these relationships fail eventually. It might take a couple years, because what's going to happen is the guy is going to wake up one day and something's going to happen. That something always happens drastically to really set things off. It might take 5, 10, it might take 15 years. It took my cousin 15 years for him to really catch on to what his wife was really all about. And what happens is you come to a point, you like, this woman that I got married to was she's manipulated me for 10, 15 years. And then some guys feel like a fool. Some guys feel betrayed. Some guys feel like they've been bamboozled. And then you have to make a decision. Am I going to stay or I'm going to leave? Most guys would leave because the damage can't be repaired in most cases, because something always drastic usually happens. I'll give you an example. Like, my cousin was married to this woman for 15 years, and she had a baby that he thought was his, and 12 years later, the kid got sick, and I think the doctors thought that the kid had some type of disease, and he asked my cousin, do you have this type of disease in your family? And he track record with this type of disease in your family. And he said, no, I don't think so. So the doctor took a sample of his DNA, and they found out that the kid wasn't his. So of course he went back home, and this is after a couple of days later, he got the results, and he approached his wife and said, hey, the doctor told me that our son wasn't our kid. It wasn't his. He ain't the father of the kid. So that's when she came out and said, hey, I got pregnant by another guy around the same time that you were that you were a truck driver, and I didn't want to hurt your feelings. I wanted I love you, wanted to keep the family together and all this crap. So he said that hurt him so bad, and he felt like a fool, felt like he even played. And to make matters even worse, her family knew the truth. Everybody knew the truth. Everybody knew that the kid wasn't his, except for him. So that made things even worse. So he made a decision to just cut everybody off. And so this type of stuff happens. It's running rapid in society. There's a lot of people walking around with secrets in the closet, things that happen to them, that they would never tell anybody. They would never tell you. And this has to do with women isolating guys, keeping the guy to themselves, because they're afraid that something might be exposed, something that's gonna embarrass them, something that's going to make them lose you. Because like I said, a lot of times the more like I would say, the idea is the more they can take your freedom, it's going to be a benefit to them. The less freedom you have, the more freedom they have. And a lot of women think like this, and that way of thinking is kind of a sociopathic type of way of thinking. But it's running rapid in this society, and you have a lot of people, a lot of women that they weren't raised up to express themselves and say what's on their mind and tell stories about how they grew up and everything. They just keep it inside and don't tell anybody. But what's going to happen is that shit is going to build up, and that shit is going to run you crazy. And then you become a fucking sociopath when you grow up, or a psychopath. And because you never really, all these problems that you had, you never felt comfortable to talk to anybody about it. And you just suppress everything that happened. So, it's just crazy, man. It's crazy. But I know you have a friend that got married, and you probably don't see him as much as you used to. And this is one of the reasons why. Because he's isolated. He's by himself. He's all confused. He really don't know what to think. And then if he do see you, it always seems like it's an uncomfortable situation, or he has a problem with everybody else except for his wife, because he can't blow that steam off on her. So he'll blow it off on everybody else outside of the household. Sad but true. So if you like what you heard, subscribe to my channel. Check out my blog, chooseyourrelationships.com. And hit me up on Twitter. I'll leave the link at the bottom of the video. So until next time, Sharp Game is out.